All right, my lovely friends, here we go. This is my post-market wrap-up. It's just going to be lovely. I really hope I keep cool through this one. A lot of stuff to talk about. So let's start off with this. Stocks finished slightly in the negative. A very volatile day. Stocks up, stocks down. Cryptocurrencies under pressure all day long. Gold managed to squeeze out a gain here. Silver finished about flat. The dollar about flat. Again, we have issues. I mean, we have massive issues. Let's talk about a few things that we heard today that we can try to make sense of, or it's actually nearly impossible to make sense in an environment of lies, fakery, and propaganda, because that's all we have right now. So the Fed, we heard from the Federal Reserve today, their beige book. Two things came out of the Fed's, three things actually came out of the Fed today. Number one, the United States, we're still having moderate growth. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is slowing down. Meanwhile, let's see, our manufacturing is in contraction, our service sector is in contraction, our trade deficit and fiscal deficits are exploding to the upsides, but we're growing. We're growing. What they mean is they're growing. The Federal Reserve is doing what right now? Inflating its balance sheet, recapitalizing the banks, expanding their repo scam. I call it a repo scam because that's what it is. QE is in full effect. But we're growing. We're growing. I think they mean they're growing, not we. Now, what else the Fed said is, people, we're making more money. Who does that sound like? The president. Everyone's doing well. And there's no inflation, or very little inflation. It's under control. That's the Federal Reserve. It's also the president, too. So who's got it right here? If you're a Trump supporter, is the Fed right or is the president right? Well, wait, hold on a second. They're both saying the exact same thing. So if you don't like the Fed, but you like the president, you're in a bad spot right now. This has been going back and forth for quite a while now. It's absolutely laughable. So here's where it gets even better. I don't know how many of you caught this today on CNBC. They made a little, I don't know if it was a parody on bank CEOs. Did you catch it? Did you catch it? Because it was fabulous. They were showing clip after clip after clip of the big bank CEOs all saying the same exact thing. The consumer is strong. The consumer is strong. The consumer is strong. The consumer is strong. This narrative must be maintained. Why? They can't tell you that there's no middle class anymore. People are in debt beyond their eyeballs. No, you're not allowed to know that. You have to believe the consumer is strong. The consumer is strong. The consumer is strong because they need you to go out and borrow more from them. And why would they need that? Well, because the Federal Reserve is giving them cash for nothing that they can lend to you and charge insane fees for. How does that sound? Sound good? You like that? That's perfect. Well, who else is saying the consumer is strong? Well, that would be the president too. So again, you can't have it both ways. No matter how hard you want to twist it. Either you agree with the president and the Fed, or you don't, because the president and the Fed have become one. They have merged. They have become one. It's an incredible situation to be in, people. Okay. So what does this mean? It means, at least for now, the trade remains risk on. Now, let's talk about something a little bit different that you're not hearing much about at all. So we understand that there is no deal, zero, no substantial phase one deal whatsoever. Now, apparently, you better sit down for this one. The president might sign a deal with the president of China, but it's going to be done in Chile. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not going to be done in China. It's not going to be done here in the United States. It's going to be done in Chile. I'm not making this up. I'm dead serious. Look it up for yourself. Nothing's going to be signed. And you want to hear the other laughable thing? The president said again that, I'm not going to sign anything until I get to see President Xi. Let me explain this to you very carefully. If there were even any kind of a deal, any at all, the president would sign it while drowning in a pool of animal dung. All right? That's the truth. He is so desperate for a deal right now that he would swallow and drink all of the animal dung to clear the pool if the beautiful letter or whatever he had to sign sank to the bottom. That's what he would do to sign any deal. There is no deal. This was a lie of epic proportions. And there's not going to be one. We've been waiting 2 years now. Okay, maybe it's about time we get something done. Maybe. Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it's going to happen at all. Let's talk about this too. You know what? I'm going to have to actually read to you, because I do not want this to be my words. Now, we all understand how this is working. Oh, by the way, crude oil did finish higher today. We have witnessed a deed here being performed by the military-industrial complex. We apparently we pulled out troops from Syria. Turkey has been threatening to attack Syria for the longest time. We pull out those troops, and all of a sudden a full-scale war is going on over there. And the president said this today. This is a quote. Look it up. President Trump, Syria is very nicely under control. He's speaking kind of in code to the military-industrial complex, not to the people that are being slaughtered, murdered, and dying. Wouldn't you agree with that? Yeah, I think you would have to agree with that. How could the things in Syria be going nicely under control when the president is now hitting Turkey with sanctions? Because he's a genius. Remember he said that? Now, he also went on to say that pulling troops out of there was, we got to get our people out of the Middle East. Well, why is he now sending a large amount of troops to Saudi Arabia? You're not supposed to know about that. I'm sorry. Mr. President. I didn't mean to tell my people that. But you see, I tell them the truth, and I give it to them straight whether they like it or not. If they don't like it, they know they can unsubscribe. It's very simple. If they like hearing the truth, they'll just stick around. But yes, the president did make it clear that it was the right thing to do to pull troops out of there so he can redeploy them to Saudi Arabia in a larger amount. And let me explain this to you in case you don't know. The troops that are deployed, the numbers, they're all fake. You know that too. They're at least 10 times higher from my sources, and I have some pretty good military sources myself. Yeah. So, with that said, I think this should really put a perspective on what's going on around you here. Military-industrial complex and the central banks are in full control here. The leaders of every country, including the United States, which is being ruled by a central bank, the leaders are nothing but mouthpieces. They are pathetic, disgusting mouthpieces. Doesn't matter who sits in that pretty White House, you know that. If it's something to benefit the military-industrial complex, the one percenters, to push crude higher, to foster the grand plan of central banks to flood the world with as much debt as they possibly can. And why would they want to do that? Well, you know the answer if you follow this blog. Their product is debt. They want to become the lenders and buyers of last resort. I will continue to say this repeatedly over and over again because there are still some people out here who don't get it. And again, I believe sincerely it's the paid shill YouTube channels. You know who they are, who are pushing the narrative. They don't understand central banking whatsoever. They are being followed by hundreds of thousands of people who are so dumbed down that they will believe whatever they are being told without doing an inkling of research, without thinking at all. They just follow like the blind sheep that they are. Yeah, we're going to end the Fed. We're going to bankrupt the Fed. Oh, President Trump. Waiting. Yeah, I'm going to leave you off with that image. I really do love all of you. I told you I was going to lose it at one point. I'm out of here. See you in the morning.